Hello, students. Till last class, we have seen what do you mean by neuron, what do you mean by perceptron, and how it works when we give input, how we are going to form the weighted sum, how we are going to apply the activation function on weighted sum, and how the output will be generated. And just in previous video, we have seen how we can evaluate our neural network using cost function and gradient descent. Now, what is cost function? Cost is trying to find out how perfectly our neural network is performing. Means what is the difference between the expected output and actual output, that is called as a loss, and cost function is a formula which will calculate your loss, and using gradient descent, you are trying to reduce that loss. Means you are trying to optimize your network. So in today's class, we are going to see what are the types of the neural networks. So the different type of the neural networks are based on the direction in which we are proceeding. Means whether we are proceeding from input layer to output layer, or whether we are again considering the second cycle, that is from output layer to input layer. So based on this direction, we are having two types of the network. So one is known as a feed forward network, and another one is known as a multi-layer perceptron network. Now, let us see. What do you mean by feed-forward neural network? The name only suggesting that we are moving in forward direction. That is from input layer to output layer. So feed-forward neural network is an artificial neural network where there is a connection between node, but it is not forming any cycle. Not forming any cycle means when we are moving from input layer to output layer, again we are not coming in reverse direction. We are proceeding only in forward direction. If we are following a reverse direction, then it will form a cycle. But feed forward neural network is not forming any such type of the cycle. So such type of the cycle will be formed in a neural network which is called as a recurrent neural network. Okay, so the feed forward neural network is one type of the neural network, and recurrent neural network is another type of the neural network. So what is the difference between those? Feed forward neural network is not at all containing any cycle, while recurrent neural network is containing cycle. Just like our tree and graph. Tree is not at all containing any cycle, but graph contains cycle. So in the same way, feed-forward neural network is not containing any type of the cycle. Means only we are proceeding in forward direction. We are not at all coming in reverse direction. Now, it is a simplest type of the neural network in which we are following only one direction. So what are the type of the layers we are having here? Layer which is formed using your input nodes. If you want to extract any features, then you have to make use of the hidden nodes, and then finally you will derive the output using output nodes. Okay, so based on the number of the hidden layers in between your input and output layer, you will get one type of the feed forward neural network, which is called as a multi-layer perceptron network. And what the name multi-layer is suggesting? Many hidden layers in between your input layer and output layer. Okay. Now, what is the goal of this feed forward network? We want to approximate some function. Okay. Means we want to do some task which will be useful for your real-time applications. For example, object recognition or to process some image, etc. Okay. Now, what we are doing here is there are the computation, that is our weighted sum. Then we will define f. F is what your activation function, and you will get the output. Okay. Now, there is no feedback connection. Now, feedback connection means what? There is no connection from your output layer to input layer. That is giving feedback on your output. Okay. Now, when feed-forward neural network is extended to include the feedback connection, which is forming cycle, then it will be called as a recurrent neural. Now, here you can see vertical view as well as a horizontal view. What we are having input layer first, then from input layer we will move to hidden layer, and from hidden layer we will move to output layer. we are not at all coming again back from output layer to input layer. This will form a cycle. Is there any such kind of cycle? No, just we have to move from input layer to output layer in one direction, in forward direction. So it will be called as a feed forward neural network. Now, what is the use of it? It is behaving just like a human brain. Now listen, in our human brain, there are a different type of the regions. So these regions are containing nodes, the biological cells. So these biological cells we are creating artificially, which we call as neurons. Now there is an input layer which is visible layer. Now, when I want to perform a object recognition task, then what input I will give to my neural network? That is the pixel information in that image. Okay, that pixel information will be given in a matrix form. If it is a black and white image, then that will be a grayscale information. If it is a color image, then that will be the RGB, red, green, blue color information. Then in first hidden layer, the first basic features that I will extract is the edges of my object. Then in second hidden layer, I will go in more detail where I will extract the counters information. And finally, in third hidden layer, I will try to recognize the parts in my object. For example, suppose the three objects are given to my neural network to identify, that is a car, person, and animal. Then based on the edges, counters, and the parts, our neural network should be capable of identifying each object separately. So in the same way, our human brain is performing. When you are trying to learn a small kid, then by showing the edges, or the different parts, so you will tell him that this is a vehicle called as a car, this is a particular type of the animal, this is a person, this is a human being. Like that, you are trying to explain a small kid. So in the same way, we have to train our neural network. So same is explained here, how we are proceeding from one hidden layer to another hidden layer. So multi-layer perceptron network is a one kind of your feed-forward network. Multi-layer means what? Many layers should be included in between your input layer and output layer. So in upcoming video, we will give more detailed explanation about multi-layer perceptron network with one example also. Okay, just try to learn what are the features of the multi-layer perceptron. Multi-layer means what? What the name is suggesting you. Try to include one or more hidden layers. Then there should be the connections between them. The activation function generally you use here is the sigmoid activation function. In the next video, we will learn the different type of the activation functions. Okay. Now, it can have any number of the output. Means you are not using it only for the binary classification. It is not the case that it is classifying only the two types of the classes. Any number of the classes it can classify. Means multi-layer perceptron can be used for binary classification as well as for the multi-class classification. And there is a connection. Means it is a connected network. Okay. So it is a variety of the learning technique and most popular being backpropagation. Now, this is a very important algorithm from your career point of view. And in this unit, this is the most important topic that we are going to learn in our upcoming videos. Okay. But just remember that multi-layer perceptron network makes use of backpropagation algorithm. So there are the input layers, there are hidden layers, and there is a output layer. Okay. Now, input layer means what? The input values will be given, but here you are not doing any activation. Now, in hidden layer, why you are using hidden layer? To extract more and more number of the features. Okay. And in output layer, and finally, you will get the output. So here we are trying to simulate a XOR network where the input given is X and Y, and in hidden layer I'm trying to make use of the three neurons, and finally I will get the output based on the values of my X and Y. Okay. So this is a very basic video which is giving you the types of the network based on the direction. So in next video, we will see what are the different type of the activation functions that we can use. Thank you.